Vox Populi, Vox Dei. That is blasphemy, really. What it means is the voice of the people is the voice of God, which basically means the people are God. Friends, what we're seeing here is positively terrifying. Elon Musk has just put up a poll asking people to vote on whether they think Donald Trump should be let back onto Twitter. And that's not terrifying. I'm not terrified by somebody getting back on Twitter and spouting off. And, I don't agree with everything he says. I agree with a surprisingly amount of what he says. But what's terrifying is that we are going to decide whether people are allowed to do things on a 51% majority. A true democracy is really just a mob rule. And that's what Elon Musk has basically put forward here, is, are we going to punish people that 51% of the people think we should punish? Are we just going to vote on everything? Are we going to vote on whether this person has rights or not? Are we going to vote on whether this people group gets put into the camps or not? Are you reading me now? There's a reason why we are a republic in the United States and not a democracy. And what we're seeing here with, at least in small scale with Elon Musk, is he's basically starting to take punishments to being popular votes. Now, I don't know if that's what he's really kind of proposing here, a larger scale, or if he's just trying to take the heat off of his own back for pass the buck, so to speak, on his decision to bring Donald Trump back onto the platform, so that he can be like, well, people kind of voted for it, so that's kind of what I went with. But the idea that we could have Twitter polls on whether people have rights or not is, like I said, terrifying. Friends, we cannot preach against pure democracy enough. This is mob mentality. This is pitchforks and torches out in the streets. A whole bunch of us want this, so therefore it's right. It's morally right just because we, the mob, say so. Friends, we need people with backbones who say this is morally right. Period. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you and all your pitchfork friends think. This is morally correct or this is morally incorrect. We can't just vote on how reality exists. We can't vote on things like inherent God-given rights. You taking away someone's God-given rights, whether you are part of a mob, a crowd, or whether you're part of 51% of all Americans, I don't really give a flying flip, because you are still taking away something God has given. And you will give an account for that. Whether you care about this being blasphemy or not, by saying basically that people are God, which is blasphemy, maybe you don't really care so much about the whole religious side of things. Let's care more about the rights side of things, the republic side of things. And let's talk about that we need to have rights that are inalienable, right? And we hold these truths to be self-evident, that God has given us inalienable rights, that people have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I think that we can all, as good Americans, agree on that. If you're from other countries, hopefully you can agree to those things and say, yeah, that's right as well. Whether you're in the UK, whether you're in Europe, whether I know UK's in Europe, but rest of Europe, whether you're in Australia, whether you're, I think we realize that the government coming into your house and shooting you, there really isn't a legal way for that to happen, or there shouldn't be a legal way for that to happen. You should not be able to have that right to life taken away from you. Liberty, you shouldn't be just locked up for no no reason. You shouldn't have your liberty taken away because someone just doesn't like something you said, or somebody doesn't like a position that you held, or a tweet that you tweeted. Friends, we should have the right to be obnoxious. People should have the right to ignore us, for sure. There's a lot of obnoxious people I like to reserve the right to ignore. But we should not silence people and make it so it's impossible for them to be heard just because we don't like what they have to say. Because if freedom of speech means anything, it means to be able to say to people who do not want to hear it what they don't want to hear. I forget who said that. Somebody said that. Somebody important, somebody smarter than me. And that's an important thing that we need to hold on to. Freedom of speech really is demonstrated by when we allow people we disagree with to speak. By that right, I think there's a lot of people in the United States that don't advocate free speech. They just advocate speech that agrees with them. And that should be subsidized by the government. You can't make this stuff up. Friends, with people like that, there is no middle ground with them. You have to defeat them politically, preferably, or you're going to have to defeat them some other way. And in the wisdom of the Founding Fathers, that's why we got this amendment, because you may need to defeat them. And the individual should have the right to defend themselves. Right? We should have the right to speak, and God has given us inherently the right to defend our rights. To stand up and say, no, I will not have my rights usurped by you, because you don't have the right to do that. Friends, the voice of the people is the voice of God is terrifying. We don't have a rule of 51% here in this country, in the United States. It may be that way in the UK. It may be that way in Canada. It may be that way in Australia. But in the United States, we don't have that. We have the rule of law. And law is not written by 51%. It is ratified in the Constitution of the United States. And that's an important distinction, friends. Elon Musk seems to be doing some good stuff, but some of the stuff he does is just truly terrifying. All right, folks, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Am I off my base here? Is this all just a good thing? I mean, it looks like this may end up in Donald Trump being put back on Twitter. Whether he's actually going to go back to Twitter or not, I don't know, but he is a presidential candidate. To have presidential candidates kicked off Twitter is ridiculous. He was a president and got kicked off Twitter. That's ridiculous. You should at least want to be able to hear what they have to say. I can get muting them. I can get allowing people to mute him on their own feeds. I get that. But silencing people so they cannot be heard is horrifying. And to decide whether someone gets silenced or not based on 51% is definitely immoral and wrong. All right, folks, if you found this video useful, helpful, you might want to check out this other video from me right here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you later. Steve Poplar out.